And welcome back to Who Would Win. Luke Zilla asked the question, who would win the fight? Bruce, or Jaws, or Bruce the Shark from the movie Jaws, versus Gustav, the real-life crocodile who has terrorized the Burundi area in Africa for decades at this point. So, talking about these guys, you're actually talking about two real events, technically speaking, although the movie Jaws is only based off some real events, whereas Primeval, which is an actual movie based off Gustav, has a lot more actuality of like some events that happened in history. Although, again, still pretty fantasized. So Bruce the Great White he's a great white. So basically, this fight's going to have to take place at sea, and non-crocodiles can swim in the ocean. Most crocodiles can. Alligators prefer to stay in fresh water, but most crocodiles will go into salt water if they have to. So Bruce was a great white shark. Now, while it's never truly confirmed how big he was, it is widely believed that what Quinn says, 25 foot long, 3 tons on him, is an accurate statement. Now, why would it be an accurate statement? Well, he was a shark hunter. He could probably gauge the size of a shark without too much difficulty. So, yeah, 25 feet long at 3 tons, that is it. Great whites that big have existed, and they may even still exist out there, but they're much rarer these days. Like, they're near mythical stats at this point. But back in the day, like 50 years ago, right near the time Jaws was going to come out, they definitely did exist a bit more prevalently. So it's definitely a shark that's plausible to exist. Great whites obviously are apex predators of their own domain, although a pod of killer whales can kill a great white. One-on-one, that's a different story, whether a killer whale and a great white at their max sizes one could kill the other, but obviously, one could kill the other, but you know what I mean by that statement. But yeah, they are the apex predators of the in their respective food chains, easily getting past 15 feet with no problem. They can move at extreme speeds and short bursts. Sharks and crocodiles are very resilient. They can take a decent amount of beatings and keep on licking. And heightened senses, a bite that can pretty much take a chunk out of more or less anything it gets its mouth on. Great whites. There you go. And that's what Bruce essentially was. Now, Gustav is an interesting case. Gustav, as far as we know, is still alive. The most recent sighting, which I just looked up, was actually in 2015, where someone saw him dragging a water buffalo, a Cape buffalo, into the water. An adult Cape buffalo, which if you've ever seen an adult Cape buffalo, those things are huge, into the water to kill and eat. Now, Gustav is a prolific man-eater. It's been said he's killed over 300 people. It's probably more at this point. Now, his exact measurements, unfortunately, are unknown. This picture is a legitimate picture of him, as far as I know. When looking up Gustav, that is a picture they said that, yeah, people have been able to photograph him, but no one's ever been able to catch him. He is theorized to be at least 60, probably at this point now, 70 to 80 years old. But and crocodiles, like sharks, as long as they have room and good food, they have indeterminate growth. They can get as big as they want. Gustav was estimated to be maybe 18 feet long. At this point, he's probably well past 20. So let's just consider say like 21. Weighing at least a ton. So Gustav is extremely dangerous, extremely intelligent. There's a great Cracked article I wrote one time, like one of their like top whatevers, and they were listing like real life monsters, something like that. And number one was Gustav, who they're like he's been shot at with anti-tank rifles. He has bullets, and there goes the dog barking for no reason. Maybe Carrie gets home. And he's got bullet wounds. He survived being near dynamite explosions. His body is riddled with scars from like combat and people trying to kill him. And I loved how this is like. He's just an immortal, ageless immortal who's so sick of his own existence that he's just trying to snuff out life to give himself some feeling. So yeah, he is definitely no joke. He's one of those. He's a crocodile who regularly feeds on hippos, which is the most dangerous animal in Africa. It does not have a natural predator by any normal standard, but Gustav is not a normal crocodile. Like I said, he is a notorious man-eater, but these days, as far as I know, he doesn't eat people regularly. He just kills them for the sheer love of it. It's kind of twisted. So who would win in this fight? Bruce, who, by the way, the shark that Jaws is actually based off of, by all accounts, was not a great white. It was more than likely a bull shark because it took place in an estuary where it was brackish to freshwater, not saltwater, and great whites can't function in freshwater or saltwater. So yeah, or in estuaries, at least not for very long. Bull sharks, however, obviously are notorious for being able to do that. So these two men to fight would have to take place at sea. These two maybe somehow come into a fight with each other. Who wins? Well, I kind of liken it, quite frankly. If you ever seen the show Animal Face Off, it was where they did a hypothetical fight where if these two creatures met in a fight, who would win? And yeah, one of their first episodes, I believe, was the great white versus the saltwater crocodile. And quite frankly, the great white won that fight. Unfortunately, even though Gustav is, quite frankly, in my mind, a cooler kind of creature and to talk about and learn about, he's definitely at a disadvantage here, just size-wise alone. Bruce is 25 feet long. Gustav's not that much shorter. But the shark's sheer size alone, like we saw the mechanical shark, so we got an idea of the size of it. It could swallow even a big croc whole. But even if it didn't swallow it whole, it still outweighs him by a good 2 tons. It's 3 times heavier than he is. Than Gustav is. So Gustav is at a weight, and he's at just a pure size advantage. Plus, in like open water, yeah, crocodiles are fast, but a crocodile, like sharks, it's in short bursts. But the difference here is that a crocodile is, I guess you could say, is amphibious in the sense that it can go on land and water, where a shark is completely designed for the water, which means that the shark can swim a lot quicker. You've seen sharks swim compared to crocodiles swim. I mean, I'm assuming you have. If not, watch how they swim comparatively. Even in short bursts, the shark is faster because it is an animal that only lives in the water. It can't go on land. So its body is this more streamlined. It's designed for that. It's also not an ambush predator, unless you're talking about, charging a seal from the bottom where a crocodile is. That's why a crocodile's speed is designed for very short bursts in that sense. Sharks got speed on it. Sharks got power on it. Sharks got weight on it. If you're talking about the type of weaponry they bring to the equation with their teeth, a great white shark's teeth, quite frankly, are more dangerous than a crocodile's teeth. Now, a crocodile does have a higher bite force, so there is that. But a great white's bite force, and a great white's bite force is no joke, but a great white's teeth are serrated triangles of death, whereas a crocodile's teeth are horrifying to be bitten by, but they're cones, basically. There's no edge on them. So they're meant for gripping, grabbing, and holding, whereas a great whites are meant for grabbing, shredding, and bleeding out your opponent. So, to use a magic terminology or just any sort of like combat analogy. So, unfortunately, in this case, while I love Gustav, and I've actually had Gustav on here more than once, had him face Titanoboa, and unfortunately, spoilers, he lost that fight too. Because quite frankly, Titanoboa wouldn't love a snack like Gustav. Gustav would be a great meal for a thing like a Titanoboa. And unfortunately, in this case, now that's not to say Bruce might not be able to put up, Gustav might not be able to put up a fight, especially if he is able to get at least the first bite. If he's able to get the first bite on the shark, he might stand a chance. But the problem here is that the shark could easily, again, a crocodile's teeth and a shark's teeth, when biting each other, are going to do different types of damage. And again, it's more that the shark's teeth or crocodile's teeth are designed to hold, whereas the shark's teeth, or at least in great white terms, are designed to shred. That, and even though a crocodile can hold its breath for a long time, they still need to breathe. So Gustav still needs to go up for air at some point. I gotta go with Bruce, the shark from Jaws in this case. It's just one of those things where it's like, it comes off pretty obvious, at least to me, but I'm willing to hear someone out on this. Do you think it's feasible? Because we don't know how big Gustav theoretically could be 30 feet at this point. At that point, and maybe weighing like 2 tons. At that point, you got different size dimensions there, so I might be able to look at it in a slightly different light. But in terms of the size disadvantage, the weaponry disadvantage, the one thing I honestly can say for Gustav is he's probably a little smarter, and he's got a better bite force. That's it. So, what do you think? You think Bruce the shark from Jaws could beat Gustav, or do you think Gustav loses like nearly every time like I do? Put in the comments below. But my thoughts on that are Bruce wins. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back with the 2 what ifs I need to do. Later, folks.